a wonderful story about a magical piece of music. This comes from the part of Ireland that I come from, in the centre of Ireland, Westmeath. Whether it's true or not, I can't tell you. It's up to you to decide at the end. It's a long story, so have a little patience. This man was driving his car down the road, and very near a monastery, the car broke down. So it was night. He didn't know what to do, but he saw the lights in the distance and he knew that there was a monastery there. So he went up to the big wooden gate and he opened the latch and walked down the little pathway to the front door of the monastery, a great big oak door with all kinds of metal fittings on it, a typical monastery door. So he knocked at the door and a little monk came out. And he said to him, "What's wrong?" And the man said, "My car broke down and I don't know what to do. Do you have a room for the night? Do you think I could stay here?" And the monk, being a nice man and a very friendly and Christian type of person, said, "Of course you can stay here, no problem." So he took him into the monastery and he met some of the other monks and they gave him dinner, and one of the monks even fixed his car. So the man was very happy. Then they sent him up to a little bed in one of the monks' cells. A very simple bed. Monks sleep very simply. Just a bit of straw and something to cover himself with. So he lay down and he was quite happy, thinking, "I'm very lucky this evening." And suddenly, in the distance, he heard a sound which became a note, a single note, and then some more notes. And he heard this music coming through to his ears, through to his head. And it was a music that he had never ever heard before. Nothing like this had ever come to his ears before. And he thought, "This is incredible." He said, "This must be like the sound of music, the sound of the sirens that drove Odysseus into the rocks on his ship." So he couldn't sleep that night. The music was in his head all night. He tossed and turned in the bed, trying to figure out what could be making this very special sound. So the next morning, he asked the monks what the sound was. But they said, "We can't tell you. You're not a monk." So he pleaded with them and they said, "No, we can't tell you. You're not a monk." So sadly, he had to leave the monastery the next day and he went away about his business. But all throughout his life, this music was in his head. This music was in his ears. This seductive, magical music. It was with him all his life. And he could never get rid of it. So he was an old man and he thought, "I'm going to go back to that monastery and I'm going to ask them what that music is." So he went back and he went into the monastery and they were friendly. And he said, "Can you please tell me what the music is? What is the source of the music?" And they said, "No, we can't tell you because you're not a monk." And the man says, "Look," he said, "is there any way I can find out what is making that beautiful sound? What made that beautiful sound?" And he said, "Even if I become a monk, then would I be able to hear and understand the sound?" And they said to him, "Well, In order to do that, to become a monk, you have to do 3 very, very difficult things. We're going to set you 3 tasks. And the first task, you must travel the whole earth, and you must tell us how many blades of grass are on the planet. The second thing you'll have to do is you're going to have to go all around the world and count the grains of sand in the world. And when you have them counted, then you have to go to a river bank and you have to find an otter and you have to count all the hairs on the otter's body. Now, when you find these answers, you will be able to become a monk. So there will be no problem. So the man sets off into the big wide world. He sets off to complete these tasks. After years and years of searching, he returns to the monastery. He is a grey-haired old man. He knocks on the door of the monastery, and a little monk comes out. And the monk says to him, "Oh, you're back. We're all so old. It took you a long, long time." And he said, "Yes," but he said, "I have completed the 3 tasks." So the monk took him in to the big hall in the monastery, and he gathered all the monks, and he said, "Our man is back. And he has traveled all over the world to find out and to complete the tasks that we gave him. And the problem is we now have to ask him, what are the answers?" And the man looked at the monks and he said, "Well," he said, "in my search to find what makes that beautiful sound, I traveled the earth and I have found what you asked for." You see, by design, the world is in a state of constant change. Only God knows what you ask. All a man can know is himself. And only then, if he is honest and reflective and willing to strip away all his self-deception. The monks were ecstatic and they replied, "Congratulations, you have become a monk. You found out what was more important than the tasks we set you. So we shall now show you the way to the monastery and the way to the mystery of the sacred sound." The monks lead the man to a wooden door, and there the monk says, "The sound is beyond that door." And the monks give him a key, a beautiful key, a big brass key. They give it to him and they say, "Open that door." So he opens this door. But behind this beautiful wooden door is another door, and this door is made of stone. So they said the same key works. So he went up and he opened the door of stone. He opened it, but behind the door of stone there was another door, and this was made of gold. So he opened it, looked behind it, and there was another door there. And this time this door was made of the most beautiful ruby. He opened it, and behind that door there was another door, and then another door, and another door, each made of some wonderful stone, emerald, pearl, and diamond. Finally, they came to a door which was made of solid platinum. The sound had become very clear and definite. The monks say, "This is the last key to the last door." And they hand him a beautiful key, take the other one away. The man is excited beyond belief. His life's wish is behind that door. He knows that if he can get through that door, he will know what the music is and what the source of the music is. He is so incredibly excited. So, with shaking hands, he unlocks the door. Then he turns the knob and he slowly pushes the door open. He falls to his knees on the ground and he is absolutely and utterly amazed to discover the source at last of that haunting, magical sound. But of course, I can't tell you what the magical sound is because you're not a monk.